And meanwhile, there are 4 motorcycles that are just like hailing us through town. They're just like going through red lights and just. I thought we were gonna get carjacked.
Holy shit!
Yeah, I thought it was going down.
Welcome, everyone, to This Was the Scene, the podcast that takes a look back at the late 90s, early 2000 NJ punk rock scene. I am your host, Mike Doyle. Midtown was a band formed from ex-members of Humble Beginnings and Nowhere Fast, and I know Rob Hitt came from another band, but I'm totally drawing a blank, so just post in the comments on Facebook or something to tell me which band that was. Anyway, they created 3 full lengths in their career, including 2000 Save the World, Lose the Girl. Now, I'm not going to lie, back when I was touring and in a band, I was quite envious of these guys because they jumped from playing shows to going on tour and recording a full-length album for Drive Thru Records. And I'm not going to lie, I was like, fuck. But I wanted so badly not to like this record when it came out, and I just couldn't. It was just that fucking good. And I give them mad props because I actually do love this record. Heath Saraceno was one of the guitarists in the band, and he's probably one of the nicest people on the planet. He was actually the first person I reached out to when I came up with the idea of this podcast. I messaged him through Instagram, and he replied, 100%, I'm totally down. Now, granted, I told him I'd also be interviewing Ari from Lifetime and Boxcar, the New Jersey band Boxcar. I'm still in the process of getting Boxcar to do it. They are on board. Ari, on the other hand, I did talk to, but I'm sure he's probably busy. So if you do know him and you want to give him a little nudge for me, then go for it. Now, if you're a huge Midtown fan, you will definitely love this fucking interview. So here are the things we talk about. How Heath hates crowds, but pushed through it to go to his first show, and he happened to meet Dave and Chuck from Weston. His first band, Nowhere Fast. His love for metal as a young buck. How one message from his buddy Tyler completely changed his life. How he borrowed amps for the first Midtown shows. Their first tour with One Cool Guy, a ska band from New Jersey. What it was like recording with Mark Trombino, who, if you are a Jimmy Eat World fan, you know that he recorded Static Prevails, which is one of the albums that defined my life. Who is the actual Josh in the Just Rock and Roll video? This is a question I wanted to ask for so long, and I got to ask it, and we got the answer. How he kept his non-vegetarian lifestyle hidden from the band for 2 to 3 years, how Midtown almost got carjacked in France, and a bunch more. Before we begin, I apologize because there's a lot of wind in the background because I interviewed Heath through Skype, and he was driving at the time, but the work van he was in is very old, and it picked it up, so I tried my best to edit it out, so hopefully it's not going to annoy the hell out of you. Now, feel free to subscribe and share this with anyone you know who would love some nostalgia. And go check out the NJPP archive to listen to pretty much all of the NJ bands from back in the day. And give props to Joe Polito for spending a shit ton of time making this happen. With that said, let's get started. All right, dude. Heath, thank you for taking the time out of your commute home to talk about and reminisce the Jersey scene.
Yeah, man, it's good to be here. It's good to be back in the 90s with you, Mike.
So to start off, like, how did you get involved in the punk scene back in the North Jersey punk scene back in the late 90s?
Well, I started going to shows pretty late. I didn't really, and I still don't like being around big groups of people. I get very uncomfortable and anxious. So I didn't really like the idea of going to shows and getting stuck in mosh pits, and like it just wasn't my scene. But then, like, I started listening to a bunch of different bands, and I noticed that they were like coming around a lot. Like I saw Less Than Jake and Big Wig and Weston at the Manville Elks Lodge.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go. So I went, and we're waiting online, and Dave Weston and there was the bass player, Chuck, right?
Yeah.
So Dave and Chuck were in like a big jacket together, and they were pretending to be Siamese twins from Canada. And I don't know what they were doing, but they were just talking to me and my friends and like doing this like whole spiel. I was like, okay, well these guys are kind of, weird, wacky, like some of my friends and me, and they're lighthearted, and their music is really cool. So it felt like a very like inviting atmosphere. And I just like had a great time at the show. Maybe I should just go to more. So I started to go to a couple here and there, and I started playing with some friends. And then my friend Ryan started playing bass in Nowhere Fast, who was from the town over from us. I was living in Somerville at the time. They were from Bridgewater. So Ryan started playing with Nowhere Fast. I'm like, shit, man. Nowhere Fast is a really good band, and they only have one guitar player. Like, I play guitar. Let me see if Ryan can get me in the band. And I asked him like a bunch of times, and he was like, nope, no way, not going to happen. And then finally, something happened, and they were open to the idea of like trying out with the second guitar player. So I went to a practice. I learned a bunch of songs and played with them, and they were gracious enough to let me in their band.
I think I saw you guys play at what was the church? There was a Burnsville church. I think I saw you guys play there. That's the first time I saw Nowhere Fast.
Yeah, probably. I'm not sure if I was in the band then.
No, you were. I remember you were in the band. Yeah. Because there's pictures of you guys playing, or there's like video of you guys playing a show, and I'm like, I think I was there.
I would love to see video of me playing with Nowhere Fast. I didn't even know that existed. I probably still had a really long goatee.
I think you did. Yeah.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I was like, who's this dude with this giant fucking goatee right here, shredding on guitar?
Why are his pants so big?
Oh man, we had the Jinkos. So you started going there, but you were big into just punk in general before you started going to the scene, like to the local shows.
Yeah, I had like pretty like varied music tastes. I mean, of course, anyone who grew up in the early and mid 90s, I was into like Guns N' Roses and Metallica. Then I got into like some heavier metal stuff. When I was like 13, 14, I was in a band with my friends, and we thought we were Dream Theater. And so we wrote like 15-minute long songs where nothing repeated, and it's actually like pretty cool. I don't know.
Oh my god!
I still have some of that. But so we did that. I did the metal thing, and then I started getting into like some punk rock, and like I got into Face to Face and Descendants and MXPX when Life in General came out. Like that was like one of my favorite records of the time.
Yeah.
And then Limp. Do you remember that band Limp?
Yep.
That first record, I still love that. I go back to that every couple of months. It's just like perfect.
I don't think I ever really listened to that record. I know that Sean, who was in Lanemeyer, I think he was into them. He always had these bands where sometimes I was like, I don't know, dude. I'm just like not. I think I was feeling it, but maybe going back, I'd be more into it now.
Maybe. I mean, they wrote some of the catchiest songs from that time. I love them.
Yeah.
But you know, I just always really liked playing guitar, and you know, I thought if these kids from the town over can play shows, maybe I can play shows with them.
Were you classically trained in guitar, or did you just teach yourself?
No, I took guitar lessons for like a year and a half, but I always had like a pretty decent ear. Like I could listen to something and sit down and figure out how to play it pretty quickly. So I just learned a lot like that. I'll hear songs on the radio and figure out how to play them in my head and go home and play it, and you know, then I knew the song.
And you're like, oh wow, all these bands are using the same chords.
Yeah, it's like it's 4 chords. I know those chords.
Yeah. So okay, so you start playing. You're in Nowhere Fast. I mean, you weren't in Nowhere Fast that long, and then you basically were in Midtown.
Yeah. So Nowhere Fast. I played with them from May of '98 until about July of '98. It was only like 2 months, and then the band kind of broke up. Tyler and Matt went to college. I should have been in college already. Actually, I was in college. I was at like Raritan Valley Community College by then.
Okay.
So Nowhere Fast broke up. Tyler went to Rutgers, where he reconnected with, maybe not even reconnected, but just knew Gabe and Rob from playing shows with their bands, Humble Beginnings and the Royalties.
Yep.
So the 3 of them started hanging out, and they had this idea to start a band. And I think they might have tried out a couple guitar players. I think Derek from Boxcar actually might have played with them like once or twice.
Oh my god,
but
that's
they were
amazing.
just jamming songs and ideas, trying to figure something out. But then they called me to come down and check it out. Actually, I remember I got I had a missed call on my house line from some weird number I didn't know from like 2 o'clock in the morning the night before. I'm like, who is this number? And then the next night, Tyler called me and left me a voicemail, not even voicemail, a message on the answering machine. He said, Heath, call me back. I'm in New Brunswick. I have something that's going to change your life. And I was like, what is this guy talking about? And he was really vague on the phone. He was like, just come hang out. We'll go to the grease trucks and walk around and smoke cigarettes. And I'm like, okay, that sounds like activities I like. I enjoy. So I went down and I get to the grease trucks and I see Rob Hitt. I'm like, Rob Hitt, what are you doing here? He's like, oh, nothing, just hanging out. And then I saw Tyler, and they seemed a lot closer than I remember them being. And I'm not sure if we went to a practice space like right then, but we definitely went to Gabe's dorm first, and then we hung out, and they said, we have this band we're putting together. We have a bunch of songs we're going to go record next week. Why don't you come to practice and see what it's about? So we went to this practice studio that, oh man, was it the guy from Doc Hopper owned it in New Brunswick? Did you ever practice at his place?
No, we were up in Jersey. We always practiced at this place called Backstage in Clifton. So New Brunswick was about an hour or like an hour and a half from Jefferson, where we grew up.
I think I practiced at Backstage. Was it in West Patterson? Did they move to West Patterson at one point in time?
I think so. It was off of 46, right behind the Guitar Center in Wayne.
Yeah, by the Best Buy.
I think so. I mean, I think everybody played at Backstage at one point.
That place was awesome.
Huge smokestack out in the front.
Yeah, like a weird little industrial park.
I think so.
So really quick, just to jump ahead for like a brief second.
Yeah.
When I was in Census Hill, we practiced there.
Okay.
And the guy there had a Marshall Slash amp that no one wanted to use. So I straight up traded him a JCM 2000 for that Slash amp, and that amp turned out to be like the best sounding amp I ever played through.
That's awesome, because JCM 2000, like those had some good sound. I think Casey, he had a JCM like 90 or like it was like a 99 or something, and that thing, I forget, I'm totally fucking that up, but that sound was insane. It was so fucking good. But like
they were putting out good amps then.
Oh yeah, dude, they were amazing. Actually, it was funny when you said that you showed up in the parking lot. I was expecting, you're like, so there's Rob and there's Tyler. I expected there just to be this like puff of smoke and Gabe like walked out of it, and you're like, hello.
It was kind of like that.
Welcome, Heath.
He made an appearance at some point, and he was like, so here's the deal, and he outlined it in a very succinct manner, and just said, this is what's going on. You want to be a part of it? And I was like, yeah, that's cool.
So did you guys, like, when you started, because it seemed you guys put out the EP, and I was talking to Badami about this. He said it was one of his favorite records. He still listens to it. And then it almost seemed like you guys were there, and then you guys were just on tour. So did you guys have that figured out from the beginning, where Gabe was like, look, I just want to just start from, just get this thing, kind of not skip some hurdles, but like get to the place we want to be a lot faster, and here's how we're gonna do it?
Yeah, we knew right away that this was gonna be our life. That we were gonna. They're like, we're enrolled in school now, but if this takes off, we're prepared to put school on hold and just tour. And I was like, it's possible to tour? And they're like, yeah, but you can tour. You can go play in different cities. I'm like, wow, that sounds awesome. So I was like, I go to community college and I fucking hate it. So yeah, I'll leave at the drop of a hat. So yeah, it was great. But one of the things that we kept in mind was that when you go to see a show, it can be a throwaway experience if you don't get to bring anything home with you.
So what do you mean?
And we wanted to have music available for a show, okay. Like a demo or a CD that people could take home. And so the next show, they know the words, the songs, and they feel connected to the band. So we recorded before we even played our first show.
Did you guys now? Because I remember Gabe started writing. We were friends with Humble, like when we started playing the scene. We were friends with Humble, and so it was Josh and Gabe and Crit and Del Vecchio, and then they got Jeremy. And I knew that Gabe started writing some songs. He wrote like "Got It" was one of the Humble songs. So did he take a lot of the songs that he was writing for Humble and that didn't get through there, and then just was like, I got 5 songs that I've already written? Or was it a collaboration where you guys started from scratch and wrote together?
By the time I got there, those first 5 songs that are on the EP were written. They were totally done. So I don't really know their process before that. I know that Gabe was really satisfied with what was going on in Humble. Like he had a lot of ideas. You know, he had a lot of songs. He had a lot of things that he wanted to get out. He was like, he felt like he was being stifled. Like his ideas weren't being used, and he was being kind of dismissed. So I think maybe that forced him to be a little bit more creative, because now he has all this stuff that he wants to get out, but he can't get it out there. So he just started his own new thing. He could do whatever he wanted, and that's kind of what Midtown was.
What was the first tour that you guys actually went on?
Okay.
Actually, no. What was the first show you guys played in Jersey?
The first actual show that we played, I believe, was at I used to know this. I used to know the date. I think it was January 18th, 1999 was the first show that we played, and I think it was at the Palace.
Oh, wow. Yeah, before it was like underwater, basically.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, man. That was bad. I was just talking about that flood today.
Oh, really?
My coworker lived in Bound Brook at the time, and her house got like 11 feet of water in it.
Oh my God!
Terrible.
Yeah. Remember that storm? It just stopped and was just like 10 hours of just dumping water, and all of Jersey got fucked.
Yeah. That was it. It was over.
Which is funny because the Palace was upstairs. Like those really. That was right. It was those really like that mountain of stairs to get to the actual venue, right?
The worst load in.
Yeah. No. Did you guys ever play the club in Green Bay? I think it was Green Bay, Wisconsin. It was some club in Wisconsin where it was 3 flights of stairs to get to the club.
We played one club in Green Bay, Wisconsin. But I don't remember there being a terrible load in.
It might not have been Green Bay,
but it was the middle of
Wisconsin.
winter.
Yeah. Okay. I just remember this fucking venue, and it was like the worst thing ever. Yeah, the Palace was brutal though, especially because we all had those heavy ass fucking amps.
Yeah.
And heads.
Well, when I started playing in Midtown, I didn't have any gear. I would just like show up to a show and be like, "Hey, can I borrow your guitar? Can I borrow your amp?"
Oh, really?
So, yeah, I had a guitar, but it was all messed up. It didn't play properly. It wouldn't stay in tune, and so I used Gabe's SG for the first bunch of shows, and I borrowed amps from other bands we played with.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, I remember that. Sometimes bands, there'd be 7 bands on a the venue or whatever for the show, and then they would just be like plug it into everyone else's amps, and just some people brought guitars or they had nothing.
Yes.
I think everyone was always down with that. We played with a band one time and they were like, we just bought our equipment. I'm like, yes or no, dude? Like,
right.
Fucking in or out. All right, so first tour that you guys went on, where did you guys go? Like, what was the route?
The first tour, did we go down to Florida? Fuck. We did a bunch of like really far shows. We played a show in Boston, which may have been our first show in Boston. And I gotta ask Rob. We played a show in Boston. We would go out to Pennsylvania on the weekends. We played CC's. Do you remember that place, CC's?
The pizza place in Wilkes-Barre?
Yeah, I think it was out that way.
CC's Pizza or something like that?
I think it might have been with Newfound Glory and the RX Bandits.
Really?
No, it was with one cool guy. Our first tour was with one cool guy.
Oh, no shit.
We toured down to Florida. Yeah, we toured down to Florida with them. And then we went across the southern states. Our van broke down in Texas. We stayed with these 2 people we had never met before, Kicker and Beth, and they were awesome people. They let us crash with them for a couple days. We went to see Joan of Arc at Fitzgerald's in Houston. And then we were on our way, and we went out to California and recorded the album.
Okay, so the first tour you guys went out, and that's when you guys recorded fucking Save the World, Lose the Girl?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that was
we were
with,
gone all summer.
so okay, so your first tour, literally, you just basically just did a straight, not a straight, but kind of a curve route out to California to record with Trombino.
Yes. Yeah. We went down to Florida, played a bunch of shows, and then went out to meet and record with Mark Trombino.
What was that? What was that like? Because I remember he was the name. I was talking to Badami about this. His name for us was so big because he did Static Prevails for Jimmy Eat Worlds, and we're like, and then we saw that you guys got him. We're like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah, we had no idea that was going to be possible. I mean, when we decided to sign to Drive Through, the idea of like having a producer came up, and we're like, producer? Who uses producers? We didn't really know what that meant, but we started looking through some of our favorite records, and Mark Trombino did Clarity, which at that time was the biggest record to us. I mean, I still put that on and get chills.
Yeah.
Like I think it's just perfect. We're like, this guy does really great work. We're kind of like a scrappy little band from New Jersey. He's not going to be into it. But we met with him. We played a couple songs for him at a practice space, and he agreed to do it. He came on kind of thinking that it was just going to be set up a couple mics in a room, play the songs live, be done with the record in a week. And when we got out there, he realized that we were like far too unpolished to do that with.
Really?
So yeah, we needed a little bit of help. Rob had never played to a click before. We tried to record with a click with Chris Badami, and it didn't really work out. So that was kind of hard, and just like that whole studio experience of it just felt so different than what we were used to, because we were out there. We didn't get to go home every night. When we were done at the studio, we'd go back to Richard and Stephanie's house and sleep on the floor. And they were awesome to us. They let us stay at their house. It was great. They were really good to us. But it was more like kind of like boot camp.
I remember hearing a story one time when you guys were out there. I think I asked somebody about that, and someone was like, yeah, they were like, it was like, what's it like recording with Trombino? And they were like, yeah, I think the Midtown guys would just be in a room, kind of quiet, and he was just super weird. Or someone, that's like the story that I got, where you guys were, it wasn't this like big, awesome, where this team thing happening. It was kind of, he was just in it doing his thing, and you guys were kind of like, can we talk to him? Can we not talk to him?
Yeah, it was definitely uncomfortable for the first record, because he had been doing his thing for a while, and we were really inexperienced.
Yeah.
So we kind of didn't want to annoy him, and he was a little bit older than us, and he's much more experienced at this. I mean, for me, I just didn't want to come off sounding stupid, so I didn't want to talk to him that much. But by the second record, like, it really opened up, and I felt like we were buds after that.
Oh, I didn't know he did this record.
Yeah, he did Living Well, and we had like a good budget for that one too. So we got to spend a lot of time in the studio and spend way too much money, way more money than we should have. But
I think every band says
what you
that.
do, I guess.
Yeah, man. Actually, what is Frayed Ends about? That's my favorite song. Like, that is I remember listening to the record, and it got to that song, and I was like, I love this fucking song. But I didn't know that you sang it until I saw you guys play live in Florida one time.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to sing it, but Gabe wrote it.
Oh, okay.
I don't really know like exactly what situation that's about.
No shit.
Yeah, he wrote that song. That was one of the first Midtown songs that he played for me. Like I went to the 5-song practice with them, and we did some electric stuff, and then we went back to his dorm, and I think he was like trying to work that one out. And I loved it immediately. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah. This is another thing that I wanted to know. In the video you guys did for God, I Wish I Could Hate You. That's the name of the song. I would just call it that.
Just Rock and Roll.
Just Rock and Roll. Yes.
Yeah.
You guys. It starts off. It says Josh's bar mitzvah. Was that a dig at Josh Humble?
I don't think it was. I think that it was just. I think that kid's name might have actually been Josh.
Okay.
The kid whose bar mitzvah it was.
I remember we saw that
But,
video and all of us were like, "Oh shit."
yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I mean, this is
I
going to be
don't think
like
it
a
had
shit talking
anything
thing.
to do with it.
It was something I've wanted to know since I was 18. So 20 years later, I'm like, I should ask this question because I have no idea.
Yeah, no, I loved Humble Beginnings. I love that band. I mean,
Yeah.
I still put on that EP, and I still, I don't know, I just love it. It's great.
Yeah, that EP is so
really
good.
great stuff.
Faith 98 is probably one of my favorite all-time songs. I still go ape shit when I saw them play a couple years ago when they reunited. I like went fucking nuts.
Oh, I missed that show. Wasn't there like a blizzard that night?
There was the Maxwell show, and then the next day was the Court Tavern. So the Maxwell show, there's 200 something people. We sold it out, and then the next day there was maybe 30. So the next night I got so drunk after we played, and they went on, and I was like just jumping. It was me and maybe 10 people jumping around. It was literally like an old school show. It was hilarious.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I remember being very envious of Jeremy's right hand.
Go on.
So that sounded really bad, but he had a really fast right hand, man. He was a really great picker.
It's kind of like what's his face from Rise Against, the bass player.
That guy's no joke.
Yeah, I mean, so what was like one of the biggest shows that you guys played when you were on the road, where you were like, "Holy shit, I can't believe this is happening"?
One of the biggest shows we played. Well, I was really caught off guard by the first Skate and Surf Festival. I didn't know it was going to be like, I don't even know how many people were there, but it was huge. I thought it was just like two tours coming together to play a slightly larger venue.
Mm-hmm.
But it was shocking how big that was, and even more shocking how big it became. Like the first couple of years of that, like 2004 Skate and Surf Festival, is one of my fondest memories of ever being at a show. We got to play twice that year. That was pretty cool.
When you were walking on the stage, you know, you always see, it's like, I never got to play on a huge stage. That's like the one thing I've always been like, God damn, I wish I was able to do that. So I'll watch all these videos on YouTube where, you know, the bands are walking up and the cameras follow them, and all of a sudden there's just giant sea of people's there. Like, what does that feel like?
It's amazing. It's really cool. It's a rush, you know, but I always got a little, I would always kind of focus on like one or two people who are having a really good time, and just try and not fall.
Did you ever fall?
You know? Oh yeah.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. I'm super clumsy. I have like no balance. Everyone could always do like all these cool like jumps and like stand on the drum set and jump off that, and like I was never able to do any of that stuff without falling. So I just tried to kind of stay on my feet the whole time.
Yeah, you were pretty stationary when you were on stage. I remember Tyler would be jumping around, Gabe would definitely be jumping around, and you kind of had like your feet in this like split stance, just shredding the guitar.
Yeah.
I think so now looking back, I think you were just like, okay, I have to stabilize myself right now.
Yeah, just don't fall. Don't fall.
What so like kind of going back to the Jersey scene, when you would come home from tour, did you go and still see shows?
Yeah, all the time. All the time. I was like, I loved going to shows after a while, you know. And at that point, that was like my main social involvement was going to shows. Because all my friends were there, you know, and like I'd get to be entertained and meet new people and you know, pick up some merch, you know.
Do you still have any shirts from back then? Like bands that you bought?
I don't have any like other band shirts, but I have a couple like Midtown and Census Fail shirts kicking around.
Okay.
None of them fit me anymore.
I know. Like none of that shit fits any of us anymore.
No, not at all. I had to get something from the basement the other day, and I looked at one of those shirts, and it was like a size small. I was like, how did I ever fit into one of those? I was vegetarian at the time.
Were you?
Oh yeah. Midtown was all vegetarian.
Oh, that's right. How the hell did you guys eat on tour? Like, where would you guys go?
Taco Bell, man. You could eat for like $3 or $4 and get full, and everything was like you could substitute beans onto anything. It was great.
Oh my God, that's right. Are you still vegetarian?
No.
Why'd you jump ship?
Well, I started dating a girl, and she's now my wife. Well, when we started dating, she was vegetarian too. And then I stayed over at her house one night, and her mom had made chicken cutlets the night before.
Okay.
And I was in the fridge, and I was getting something. I looked like chicken cutlets, and I was like, damn, I used to love chicken cutlets. Like, that looks really good. I wonder what would happen if I took a bite of it. So I took a bite of it, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's it. It's over.
Fuck those beans. Then you guys are showing up at Taco Bell. You're like, yeah, I'll get chicken and steak in my taco, please. Thank you.
No, I was such a scumbag. I lied to the rest of the guys in Midtown for, like, probably 2 or 3 years.
Jesus, really?
Yeah. So I was like, I was not vegetarian anymore, but I told them that I was for like the last 2 or 3 years of the band. So we'd be on tour, and I'd be eating like my bean tacos and whatever, and come home, go to like Lone Star Steakhouse and get like a 20-ounce filet mignon wrapped in bacon. I was it was so stupid.
That's amazing. Yeah, there was a yeah. So go on.
Oh no, I got caught one time by the waiter, so I didn't order anything. The waiter recognized me from being in Midtown, so I just ordered a potato instead of ordering a steak.
That's fucking great. I was listening to a podcast that Gabe did about 4 years ago, and he was talking about, you know, you guys were on drive-thru and they got bought by MCA, and you know, it kind of, there was a bit of a rift. So he said you guys laid low for a year, and then you were writing another record, the last one you guys did, and then jumped ship. Like, when he said laying low, what does that mean? Did you not play shows that whole time? I thought you guys were always on tour.
Yeah, we didn't tour for a while. I think in the summer 2003, we did a tour with Reggie in Full Effect, and we came off the tour. We'd written a bunch of songs before that. We played three new songs on that tour, and then we came home and we didn't do anything. We just wrote. We tried to finish the record, and then we ended up recording that record in November. So we didn't do anything from like July till November, which, you know, that 4-month span for us, but we'd never been home for 4 months in a row. You know?
Yeah.
We were always on tour before that. So I don't think we laid low for really a year, but I guess if we recorded in November, we probably didn't start playing shows again until March. So, man, yeah, I guess that was a long time.
Why did you guys finally break up?
Well, no, but I think what happened with Midtown is just that we tried really hard. We really believed in what we were doing, and we've done really well for a little while. And then I don't know what happened, but it felt like we lost a lot of popularity. We felt like people stopped coming to our shows, and then we put out this record that we were really excited about, and we really, really believed in, and we thought was great, and it was like met with like it was a pretty cold reception. We toured our asses off, you know, on it. We played really well. The last like couple months of Midtown, I thought we were playing the best that we had ever played.
Yeah.
I was really proud of us. You know, we were doing all that we could do. It just felt like we were going nowhere. So there was a lot of blame. There was like, well, maybe it would be a bigger band if you shaved your beard, or maybe it would be a bigger band if like you didn't do these weird dance moves, or maybe it would be a bigger band if you didn't wear those pants. You know, like,
yeah,
there was a lot of resentment between us because of that, and it just kind of tore us apart.
So do you kind of feel it was one of those where, you know, I think sometimes bands have a decent amount of records where you're all into it, and there's a point where you're kind of like, hey man, just play the old shit. Like, we really don't want to hear any of the newer stuff anymore. Do you think it kind of got there for you guys? Even though it was like basically 3.5 records in?
Yeah, I think so. And something that I think you get with perspective, you know, with age, is that you look back and you think, well, not everyone was with us from day one, you know? So maybe that album that we put out 5 years ago is brand new to someone. I didn't know that at the time. I didn't even think about that. So we just knew that we were bored playing those songs. So it was selfish, and we had definitely decided that there were some songs that we weren't into and we didn't think were representative of our band at the time. You know, we thought we had become more mature and deeper, more philosophical, and why are we going to write a song about a girl?
Yeah, how old were you guys when in 2004?
2004. I was 25-ish.
Okay. Yeah, you still. I mean, I guess we all still kind of had that little bit of angst, or that, you know, she screwed me over, instead of realizing that it's, you know, it's not her fault.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
You have any like fucking crazy stories when you guys are on the road?
Yeah, I do.
That'd be awesome. It was just this giant beep for like 30 seconds, and I come back in. I'm like, man, that was a great story.
That'd be great. Honestly, I don't know what I can talk about.
Yeah, you don't have to go like, you know, you don't have to, you know, release any awful stuff, and you know.
No, we were always pretty tame. I mean, the craziest thing that ever happened to us was in France, and we were on tour. We were doing like a little European tour, just playing shows with local support, like in bars around Europe. We did a couple shows in England. We played in France, and at the France show, it was like towards the center and the south. I don't remember the town, but we played this weird little bar, and we're loading out after the show, and these local kids, probably about our age, came up and they started talking to me. We were loading the van. They're like, "Where are you guys from?" We're like, "We're from the States." "How much is that guitar worth?" "What?" That guitar. "What do you get for that guitar?" I'm like, I don't know. It's cheap. It's like a knockoff. It's not real." They're like, "Oh, you're from the States? What state are you from?" "From New Jersey." "Oh, cool, New Jersey. What kind of drum set is that? Is that worth a lot of money?" "I don't know." "You ever see that movie, New Jersey Drive?" They're like, I was like, yeah, I have seen that movie. The movie's about carjacking, right? He's like, yeah, it is. I was like, okay. Closed the doors of the van. I went inside and I was like, everybody, we have to go right now. These guys are gonna fucking carjack us. They're gonna steal our shit. They're surveying our gear. I'm like, I saw a truck pull up and one of the guys talking to them. I'm like, this is not gonna end well. Like, let's get in the van right now. So we got in the van and we just bolted out of there. Our tour manager is this crazy Swedish guy, and he's just driving. He's like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. And meanwhile, there are 4 motorcycles that are just like hailing us through town. They're just like going through red lights and just. I thought we were gonna get carjacked.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I thought it was going down. So that was probably the craziest thing that ever happened while we were on tour.
Jesus Christ. That's fucking insane, dude.
Yeah, it was nuts. It was a very odd feeling, being just like so far away from home and like having no idea how to like contact like authorities if something were to go down. Like, you're just like helpless. That was weird.
That never happened in Jersey, though.
No. That would never happen outside of the Cove.
Yeah.
Never.
Have you been like past any of the old venues lately, just randomly reminiscing and driving by them?
So like I work in New Jersey as an electrician, and I'm always on the road. I'm always driving around, and every once in a while I have to drive right past the place that used to put on shows. Like, I think one year I was at the Wayne Firehouse. Like, yeah. I think it was on your birthday. I was like driving right past the Wayne Firehouse. And it's weird, man. It brings back a ton of memories. I don't know if anything like that is out there now for kids.
There's a band I really love called Balance and Composure, and they're from Doylestown, Pennsylvania, the same place as Circus Survive. But there's this scene in Pennsylvania that was there. I don't know if it's like 4 years ago. It was really strong, but it reminded me so much of the old Jersey scene, because I'd see these videos on YouTube, and all these kids, they weren't dressed all glam and all this shit that was kind of like in the 2000s. Like, it literally looked like us, but more grungy. And they would show up and just go off at these shows. I don't know if it could really come back to what it was. I don't know. If there's like where those really big pockets are for bands to actually blow up locally and not have to get on some giant club venue.
Yeah, I mean, I bet it's happening somewhere. You know, it has to be. I bet it was always happening somewhere. But I feel really fortunate that it happened in a big way for us, you know, for me and you. We got to share in that time.
Oh, yeah, dude. I mean, just like your story about how you showed up and you know, had a little bit of social anxiety or you didn't really like crowds and you just were like, oh, man, I have to be involved in this. I think that's a lot of people were the outcasts in high school, or they didn't have that, they weren't in the popular crowd or something like that, and they needed a place to go. And then once they walked into one of these shows and saw everyone, they're like, oh my God, like this is my group, this is my crowd. And they would go out of their way every Friday, Saturday, whenever, every week, especially in the summer. It was basically like Monday through Sunday. We'd all just go to shows and see each other, and it was like we were a fucking family.
Yeah, and it was really inspiring too. You know, there were a lot of like really, really good songwriters that came out of our genre.
Oh my God, yeah.
If you listen to that Joystick CD, those songs are amazing.
Yeah.
They're great songs. Those guys can write a song.
Do you feel that, you know, when you were writing the songs that you guys wrote, were you listening to bands and saying like, oh man, like, I'm just kind of cherry picking from these guys, or oh man, I wish we'd sound exactly like this band?
I mean, we definitely were influenced by bands and took ideas here and there. Yeah, I would say absolutely. Yeah. I remember when we were recording the EP, The Sacrifice of Life, at Portrait Studios with Chris Badami. Someone was recording vocals and I was in the kitchen and I started playing this Hot Water Music song, Minnow. And I was like, oh, this song's so cool. Like, let me move it down a string. Okay, well, let me just move it a little differently. And then I wrote the guitar part for No Place Feels Like Home, and I was like, oh, this is cool. But I just totally ripped off a Hot Water Music song for that song. That was the most directly I was ever influenced by another band. But I mean, if you listen to the guitar riff on Recluse, that's like the beginning of a Descendants riff. We love to pay homage to Lagwagon in our early songs.
Oh yeah.
It's little, whether it's a little a pop muty accent or ending a song with the chorus of a different song. I mean, we're really inspired by a lot of music that was coming out around then.
I think in the Congress of Cow days, we were playing and we incorporated Fraggle Rock in the middle of a song. And so it'd be the song, we'd break into Fraggle Rock and we'd break back into the song. It just
awesome.
It was so much fun. It was like, oh my God. We were like, that's fucking great. I was like, yeah, man, I loved it when bands would just break from that. We have to be this persona. And they're like, we are just going to dissect this shit on, before we get on stage, but have fun with it. And I think that just brings more, I think it brings more of a connection from people to the band when they're like, yeah, we're just playing fucking music. We're not God.
Yeah, it humanizes them.
Yeah.
They're not just some person who's, cooler or more accomplished than you. They're just like you. They just happen to play guitar really well.
I'm gonna ask you a couple questions and I'll let you be on your way, because I know you got your wife and your daughter and the boy, from what I see on Instagram.
Yes, I do. He's probably at home playing guitar right now.
I think you posted a video the other day of him playing something, or what was it? It was like an Instagram video. If you were playing some kind of song in the background and he was playing, I thought.
Yeah, shirtless. He made my wife take his shirt off because he saw a couple Guns N' Roses videos, and now he thinks that when you play guitar, you have to have your shirt off.
He's right.
He is right. I've been doing it wrong this whole time.
Yeah, he's right until he's in his 30s, and then it's like, all right, it can go either way. Was it Skate and Surf or Bamboozle that you guys reunited to play on?
It was Skate and Surf.
Okay.
It was after Bamboozle. Bamboozle ended, and then they took a couple years off, I think. And then they brought the Skate and Surf name back out. It was really awesome. So I'd sold all my gear. I had a baby, and I sold all my gear. I didn't need it. I had all these guitars I didn't need. I had an amp, and I had pedals. It was just eating up all the space, so I got rid of it in September of 2013. And then January of 2014, Rob Hitt called me. He was like, we got an offer. We may have an offer to play a show. And I was like, okay, cool. It's not going to happen. He's like, what do you mean it's not going to happen? I'm like, this comes up like every couple of years, and then it never materializes. And then, we get our hopes up, and nothing ever happens. He's like, no, I think it's really going to happen this time. And I was like, well, that sucks because I just sold all of my gear. I don't have anything left. And he's like, well, maybe just, borrow a guitar. I'm like, well, I have one guitar left. So we decided to meet up and, get the four of us in a room and talk and see if everybody was into the idea. And we went and played, like, right then. The idea was to all get together, have lunch, talk, and go straight to a practice studio and just see what happened. And we did. We played through a couple songs, and we couldn't remember them. We couldn't remember the parts and the different parts that we had played live versus what was on the record and who sang what. But it was a really great experience because we had like 5 months until the show. So we decided that every Sunday we would get together.
Oh, wow.
And hang out.
That's awesome.
All day, every Sunday. And we would practice for like between 4 and 10 hours every week, just on that one day. And it was really cool reconnecting, because everyone went their own ways, and we didn't really talk to each other much in the intervening 10 years. So it was really nice just becoming friends again and figuring out where everyone was in their life. That was the best part, was just reconnecting with everybody. The music part was fun too, but it's just nice having them back in my life as friends.
How tight were you guys when sometimes bands will start and everyone's all friends, and then they get into it, and then the business aspect of it happens in any level, and then it starts to just really tear apart friendships? Where would you say you guys were at a connection level in the band, personally?
I think that the entire time that we were in a band, I feel like Tyler and I were really close, and we were always friends. We would hang out when we were home from tour. We'd been friends before the band. We always kind of had each other's backs in the band, and I feel like at times, my relationship with Rob was always pretty good. My relationship with Gabe was always pretty good, but I feel like it got strained at points where, the resentment started creeping in. And that was unfortunate. Because when we started, it was exciting. We were all together, and we were just like brothers,
I always kind of saw you as the guy who was not one to really stir the pot because you just didn't give a shit. And you're like, yeah, I kind of just show up and I'm happy. And
yeah, I'm definitely not one for confrontation. So I don't really like to stir the pot. I try to get along with everyone, but it was hard at times. I wish I could have handled it better. But I was 25, of course I'm good at shit. Right?
Yeah, man. Christ, dude, I was making mistakes in my 30s. I still make them.
Oh, yeah, me too, all the
time. So if there was any reunion show in Jersey, like what bands would you want to see get back together and play?
Ooh, oh, man.
That's the question.
Man. I mean, it would have to be you guys. Because every iPhone or iPod that I've had has always had the Lane Meyer EP on it.
That's awesome.
So you guys would have to be on there. I would like to see One Cool Guy get back together, just so I can make fun of Stewart a little bit more. I toured with him a lot over the years.
Yeah, he was the roadie for you guys, right? For Census Fail and for Midtown?
Not for Census Fail, but for Midtown. He came on tour and he played drums, actually, for the first couple tours that we did. And I think he came back later as like a tour manager. But he's doing really well. He's tour managing all sorts of other bands now. He tour managed Modest Yahoo for a while.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's all these like random hidden success stories from the scene. I'd say the only one really killing it is Brian from Gaslight.
Yeah, man, that guy's on a different level.
But there's like these random stories of people that are kind of in the back end of the scene that are managing or producing, or they're doing well from that side. And it sounds like Stewart's one of those guys.
Yeah, he's been very active. He's very busy.
Oh, that's amazing. All right, so one cool guy. Who else would you want to say?
Bigwig.
Oh yeah.
Like definitely Bigwig. And I'm gonna throw this one out there too, because I loved them at the time, and I don't have any of their music anymore. But do you remember Situation at 1200?
No.
Oh, they were awesome. They played the first bunch of shows that we ever played. They were from New Brunswick. They were definitely an emo band, and they were great.
What are they called?
I think they were called Situation at 1200.
Situation at 1200. I'll bet you anything that they're on the NJPP archive that Joe put together.
Oh man, that dude, he's doing the Lord's work.
I was talking with Dami about this I think it was either in the interview or after it. I'm like, the amount of time he must have fucking spent to just collect the music, second, to put that as a video and render all those songs out, and then to upload. I mean, that's a year's worth of work. No shit.
Yeah, it's a passion project for sure. You
Oh,
don't do that
100%.
if you don't love what you're doing.
Oh yeah. And then at the end, when he had it up there, I'm like, there's no possible end game to this for him. There's not like, hey, I did this and it's going to lead to this thing. It's just, no, man. He's just like, I just wanted to fucking have this music up there.
Yeah. It should be archived.
All right. Yeah, man. I think that's pretty much it. I mean, so you gave your guitar. Did you get another guitar? Have you played it all lately?
Yeah, so I had to rebuy like a lot of stuff for that show. And I borrowed a guitar from my brother-in-law, and so I just had those two, and I had my original guitar kicking around for a while. But recently I bought a Telecaster because I've been playing more because my son really likes when I play guitar. So
what are you gonna do if he grows up and wants to tour in a band and skip college?
I'll say, go for it, buddy.
I love it.
Go for it. But you know what? Kids rebel. They never do what their parents think is cool. So maybe he'll be a doctor or something. Who knows?
Maybe like an astrophysicist. He's like, yeah, I've always wanted to rebel against my dad's rock lifestyle, or whatever, rock star lifestyle. Cool, man. Well, dude, I appreciate you taking the time to reminisce. And I don't know, any final thoughts for anyone listening?
Yeah, I don't know what to say. I'm glad we got to experience it.